Hi, I'm Shashi Kiran, Chief Marketing Officer at Checkpoint Software, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this podcast series where we bring in thought leaders that are demonstrating security in action. And today it's my pleasure to welcome Amit Baraket. Amit is all things Mr. SASE at Checkpoint. He joined us through the acquisition of Perimeter 81 a couple of years ago and is leading the charge in terms of really taking SASE and growing it in the market globally. And so without further ado, Amit, welcome.
Thank you so much, Shashi. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to join your series.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here, Amit. So before we get into all things SASE, let's get into Amit and what made you start your journey in cybersecurity, and let's get going from there.
Yeah, so actually, I studied computer science at Tel Aviv University, and I started to work at IBM, a large corporation. Probably everyone knows. As a software engineer, I ran their team of mobile application that managing storage, but on the day-to-day, I worked a lot from home and utilized the legacy VPNs of the world back then, Cisco and Connect, and I suffered a lot. And in Israel specifically, previously the Jewish mother really wanted to be a doctor. Now it's an entrepreneur. So remember that thought maybe we can build something better back then, like better than an appliance that is in the office. I believe it was 2015, 2016, where really the internet took off. And I thought about how can we deliver the solution as a service from the cloud. So I basically left my corporate job, joined Sagi, my co-founder, and started our first company. It wasn't Perimeter 81, it was a different company that developed a VPN for consumers back then. How we can secure themselves on public Wi-Fi's, and things led one to another. We sold the business and started Perimeter 81, and then arrived to Checkpoint. It's a big journey, but I can address it maybe in future questions. But to give you the solution for your answers, that's how things rolled on from basically a pain that I had every day by using the legacy VPNs of the world back then when I worked at IBM.
Yeah, it's often said that the greatest entrepreneurs and the best companies are born out of the pain that the founders experience, and looks like that was true in your case. And we're fortunate that that was the case because it led to the birth of Perimeter 81. Now, it's been over a year since the acquisition happened, and you've gotten the company to a very high growth trajectory within Checkpoint. So how are things working out for you so far, from startup to being with Checkpoint and looking at the market globally?
Actually working very, very well, better than I expected initially. I always know that the synergistic value between Perimeter 81 and Checkpoint is extremely large. We at Perimeter 81 built the best SASE platform in matter of architecture and infrastructure and best user experience to really deliver the best user experience there is in the market for SASE. And Checkpoint is a very iconic company, the most well-known for firewalls and on-premise network security. And SASE is basically an extension of that security outside the office. And we have had in Perimeter 81 a really unique technology that delivers the best user experience in matter of SASE. Checkpoint delivers the best security, and I know that connecting the two will really deliver a unique SASE platform that both offering the best user experience and the best security. And that's what made me excited by joining the company, into really coming up to the market with a very unique offering that is a differentiated technology that I believe is the best architecture for SASE, and it proves itself. Like the feedback that I've receiving from Checkpoint customers since we've joined the company is really, really good. And that makes me super excited on the future to come for us together.
Look, I think every innovation sometimes benefits from the timing that gets introduced into the market. Some innovations are ahead of time and they fail. Others are in catch-up mode. And looks like to me that you timed this perfectly. You got the right innovation into the right market at the same time. And again, when you look at SASE, it was not a standard per se. You know, I remember the time when Gartner coined this terminology, and initially it came about as the intertwining or the unification of network and security. And there were no specificities at the IETF or IEEE as some of the protocol and other standards evolved. And every vendor ended up having their own interpretation of what SASE was in some sense. And obviously you have, you know, different marketeers and companies taking creative leeway. When you look at Checkpoint SASE, how do you look at the architecture here, and what do you think the differentiation is?
Interesting. So look, we started Perimeter 81 back in 2018, which was before the term SASE was coined by
That's right.
Donald August 2019. I remember that I published an article on July 2019 about that the internet is coming to age, and the corporate network is basically the internet, and we need a solution that is basically providing you a secure corporate network over the internet. We call it by then NAS, Network as a Service.
That's right.
Or SNAS, Secure Network as a Service. And then Gartner came in with this term at August 2019, exactly on time. And since then, it was a term that really developed in the market. Initially, companies have what in the space, in the SASE players, what they have done is basically transition from their proxy internet security solution like Zscaler, that started as an internet proxy solution, into taking that basically network that was operated on layer 7 to support additional use cases, not only internet access, but other than also private access and interconnectivity, basically transforming a network that is operating in layer 7 to support layer 3. And that required many different techniques and basically adjusting the network, and not in a very straightforward way. And today, most of the SASE vendors are, we call it a cloud-only SASE solution, where you need to send all the traffic to the cloud in order to secure it. But back then, when I spoke with customers of cloud-only SASE solution, I asked them, what are your biggest challenges? And they're always telling me until today that the two challenges, the main challenges are speed and latency, because users are complaining it lowers the speed, and that makes a lot of sense because now I need to send all the traffic to the cloud to secure it, and that adds latency, right? So that was a challenge number one, and I asked them, what do you do about it? And they told me, we implement split tunnel. We basically do not send all the traffic to the cloud. We send only what is necessary. But then what you do with all the other traffic, it's not secured. Yeah, we know that the traffic is remaining not secured. It's a security hole for us. The second challenge was cost, because when you send all the traffic to the cloud, the cost is relatively high and is rolling over to you as a customer. So we thought about how can we build a better architecture and to change a paradigm and to think differently. And what we came up is basically a model where we work with split tunnel by default. What does it mean? That the traffic that doesn't go to your data center, doesn't go to your SaaS application or your cloud environments, will go directly to the internet, like Facebook, Netflix, right? You don't need to necessarily to route it to the cloud if you provide security. And the question is how we're going to provide that security, regardless if the traffic is routed to the cloud or not. And what we did is we took all the security that we have in the cloud and deployed it to our agents, to the agent device. And it's completely transparent to the user because they don't know where the security is being enforced. It's completely transparent. The policy is the same policy. The security engines are the same security engines, but the user experience is much, much better. No one likes to, for example, fly from, let's say, Germany to the US and to stop in the UK, right? You want to fly direct. So that's what we allow our users to basically browse the internet directly, like they are not being routed to the cloud, but still provide all the benefits of a cloud-only SaaS, including our cloud backbone that exists in 85 different points of presence around the globe. So this is how we provide the best user experience, and with our split tunnel mode by default with 100% security.
You touched upon a few very interesting things, because historically, if I look at security, it's always been a trade-off between performance and experience. If you want a higher performance, you have to compromise on experience and you have to compromise on cost. And in some ways, it looks like you've cracked the nut there, where you're securing things without necessarily compromising on performance or on escalating cost, which is a big deal today. The other thing that struck me as you were saying was, the pandemic in some ways reinforced the myth of this cloud-only construct, because suddenly everybody ended up working from home. But today we see that pivoting back very quickly with people coming back into work environments, working in a hybrid mode or full-time in an office environment. But you're also seeing a lot of distributed intelligence come about at the cloud as well as the edge. And you need an architecture that's quite flexible to accommodate both these models. So in that context, I know Check Point started to talk about the hybrid mesh, and SASE appears to be the glue that's starting to really hold this mesh together. Could you just talk about what's the evolution that's happening here in the context of the hybrid mesh today?
Yeah, so we talked about how our SASE architecture is different. And when we're talking about users, the same we can apply on data centers and offices. For example, with cloud-only SASE, you're required to send all the traffic of the branch to the cloud in order to secure it. But again, that incurs very high cost because all the traffic of the branch is routed to the cloud and also drives latency. So we can apply the same principle where basically to enforce the security in the branch, but to have a single policy. And that's where coming the hybrid mesh. How can we at Check Point provide the security service that doesn't matter where your users are, doesn't matter where your resources are, if they are on-prem, in the cloud, on the internet. Users are working from the office, outside the office, when they open their laptop, the resource is protected by Check Point. Protected by Check Point with the best security, but also the best performance and the best user experience. And that is being enabled because we have such a matured a security gateway business and security gateway products that now when they are being integrated into our SASE solution and vice versa, can really provide a single security storyline, regardless where the resources or users are. And that's the strength of hybrid mesh. It's basically creating a mesh security between all the products, SASE, gateway, cloud, providing an holistic security that interacts with all the different components, but it's also hybrid. So it's being enforced in the closest place it is possible, either to the resource or the user, to provide the best user experience and also efficiency.
So in some ways, I think this also provides choice, because the organizations I know are going through their own real estate models. They're also looking at private versus public cloud environments, what applications need to reside where. And getting locked into a particular architecture is always a bit of a risk for them. And what I'm hearing is the more hybrid the offering is, the more flexibility they have in terms of how they maneuver their organizational posture. And it's a matter of choice. And in a way, what you talked about, Amit, was the user experience. But sometimes I think what's equally important is how easy we make it for the operators, the administrators, and this notion of having that unified policy and consistency with the gateway. I think these are also big deals when you step back and take a look at it, instead of stitching things together one by one. Would you agree?
Completely agree.
All right. So I think today more than ever, this notion of complexity creeps up, and a lot of it is really stitching together these point products, which are somewhat disaggregated. And then, you look at security as a chain, you always find weak links which compromise the integrity of the chain. Let's switch gears a little bit. We haven't talked about AI so far. We've been about 15, 20 minutes into the conversation. Where do you see AI impacting SASE and hybrid mesh in general?
Oh, this is a really great question, Shashi. And this is where things comes to play. Imagine AI, when AI is becoming very strong, when you have a full data visibility, right? AI is really strong by taking the lots of data and get you the most important items. And when you have a integrated system that has visibility on the user when he's outside the office, and when inside the office, and when the resource is in the cloud, and everything is being collected into one place, this is where the magic happens. So it will allow us to build more and more AI engines. We already have about 51 or more AI engines in our security intelligence, threat intelligence tools. But it will allow us not only to provide better security engines, but also to take decisions and to build policy automatically using by AI, and to have automatic in the future, automatic AI policy, autonomous AI policy, that you won't need even to configure everything, just because we have visibility to everything and everything is connected. When you go to a different solution that has a different gateway and SASE and cloud, then each service is a standalone service and not necessarily has a complete integration between everything. And that's where the hybrid mesh not only provides a better user experience and a better security and better cost model, but also provides you a unified policy that and data visibility that is very, very important for AI.
I think this starts to become more important. In some ways, now we're not just talking about performance and experience, but it's also about agility. How quickly can you respond? How quickly can you provision? These are very important business care abouts, because now SASE is, and the mesh and the connectivity in general is a conduit for time to market in a business environment. Now, when you look at some of these things, who are you pitching to in a customer environment, Amit, and what's resonating to them? If you're talking to a business leader, do they understand what SASE is? Do they get the value, or you have to get this across to a technology buying center?
Yeah, so basically, all the IT and security personnel will be interested in SASE. SASE is in the core and heart of the business enablement, both security of the organization. It talks to two different personas, both on the security side and also business enablement, because it enables you to do business when the internet is the corporate network. But most of our conversations are with the network security or IT or the CISO. These are I would say, the main buyers and the things that SASE is a burning topic on the table. Now, there are two types of conversations that I usually do. When I meet a new customer, do you have a SASE solution? About 50% will say yes, 50% will say no. The ones that will say no, that are starting and already in the process of evaluating their SASE journey, and here we can provide a lot of value because we in Checkpoint we work as a rocket. I didn't explain it before, but might be good to give a few sentences. We work as a rocket, which is a business unit that we are responsible for all the customer journey with SASE. And we have dedicated solution architects that are working hand by hand with our customers to take them through the SASE journey. We call it the SASE Sherpa program. We are the Sherpa of SASE for our customers. We really make sure that they implement it well and think about the architecture and where to start. It's very easy to start also with SASE because you can start small and expand. So this is a very important conversation that I have with customers that don't use SASE. Let us help you. We're going to do it happily with all the heart and soul in order to make it successful for you. The second half of customers that I speak with are already implemented SASE. But in 99%, when I ask them, what are your biggest challenges with your existing SASE solution, which is most of the time the cloud-only SASE solution, tell me latency and cost. You remember I answered it, Shashi, before. And here, with Harmony SASE, which we believe is the best architecture for we call it hybrid SASE, where we work in a split tunnel mode by default, but securing 1% from the traffic, we can really make a difference. We don't degrade the user experience, provide the best user experience. And because we don't send our traffic to the cloud, we can offer it at a much attractive price. So all in all, the time to value and the value the customer is perceiving is much higher. So it's hard for us to convince for a quick POC. Everyone can interact with our platform very easily. So these are the two types of conversation that I usually do, Shashi.
Wonderful. I think you brought up this notion of time to value, which is becoming extremely important in business environments today. And what was also interesting is the notion of the Sherpas, which will handhold them to the complexity of deployment. In some cases, architectural shifts that might happen. So you look at cloud-only SASE as the base camp, but if you want to get to the Mount Everest and summit and derive the benefits, then the Sherpas are there to handhold you. Let's maybe shift gears back into you. And you've had a very diverse background. You've been a serial entrepreneur. You've been a big company guy. You've also been in national security. You've done software engineering. So how are all the summation of these experiencing helping you contribute today in an executive capacity?
It's a good question. Look, I always try to do my best. I believe that as a founder, I know to do, and I do believe that I know to do everything, but just good enough. When I started a company, I did the customer success and customer support, and I developed, I'm a software engineer, correct, and did all the sales and the finance and legal. I did everything by myself. at the beginning. We had some employees, but I took most of and across all my career, I really did different things, like all the time. Sometimes I was a developer, and in the army when I served in the cybersecurity unit, and then I got lots of responsibility under my shoulders, and in very young age, and that I believe also pushed me forward a lot. So I believe that versatility, the fact that I was exposed to so many different environments, either was in the university, in the large corporate, during my army service, afterwards, when I started a consumer company, which was bootstrapped, I didn't raise any money, so I needed to do everything by myself. And then with Parent 81, that was a growth company, raised a lot of money. And so that versatility, and I believe the different perspective that I was lucky, right, to absorb along the way, really made a difference when I arrived at a later stage in my career, I would say.
Yeah, I think the influences that shape you as an individual end up contributing to the decisions that you end up taking in a professional environment. And I'm really glad to be sort of partnering with you on some of these as you scale the growth engine. SASE is a very exciting area for not just Checkpoint, but the market at large. And I see the excitement and the pull that's coming in from customers and partners. So what's exciting in the next year or two when you look ahead and fast forward the SASE innovation? What's coming around the corner, Amit?
So we give a lot of big boost to SASE at Checkpoint. We invest a lot in development, innovative solutions, and really differentiating from the market. And there are many different projects that we're working on. We already have a really great success with over 12,000 customers that are using Harmony SASE today. And we're going very fast. And in the next 2 years, I believe that we will see lots of great success, but more important, we'll see many success stories from our customers that going through that SASE journey, and that will enjoy from our technology innovation and the great product that we developed. The team is working very, very hard, hundreds of engineers that are working not only on features, but also in innovation, driving new, innovative ways to offer better security and connectivity when the internet is basically the corporate network. So lots of exciting things to wait. I cannot share everything because some of them we're working in our labs and very heavily to deliver. But I can promise you, Shashi, there's a lots of things to wait for. We already have, I believe, a great platform with the best architecture and the best user experience and the best security provided by Checkpoint, but there's a lots of things to stay tuned to.
Well, at least in the context of Checkpoint, SASE is your baby, and I can see the pride in you as a father of the baby that's growing quite well. And I'm not sure if you realize that, but my first name also is very similar to SASE. And I said that to some of our partners and said, look, it tells you that the company is placing a bet on SASE because my name is very similar. And on that note,
Shashi.
And on that note, Amit, I want to thank you for joining and sharing some of your thoughts and insights, and wishing you and Checkpoint and the industry at large much success on the SASE front.
Thank you so much, Shashi. It's exciting to collaborate with you on that, and lots of good things ahead of us. I'm excited.
Thank you. And with that, everybody, thank you for joining. Keep safe, secure till we get to the next podcast.